It's 7 o'clock and we are live. Welcome to V-Talks on this election day. I hope that everyone exercised their right to vote. I wore my little sticker today. If you haven't gone out to vote today and you can still do so, I recommend that you go, because this is a privilege that we have in our country. We are very divided right now, and if you have something that you want to change or not, this is the time to go out and help make that change. And the other thing I want to say is there's going to be a decision made soon. And because the country is so divided, I'm hopeful that once there is a decision that we can unify again and be the great country that we are and love one another again and stop all the fighting, because it's been a little rough lately. And we've had a rough year, and I want to see us get back to normal. And that's all I'm going to say on that. But anyway, we are here. We are at V-Talks. And as you know, I am here every Tuesday night at 7 o'clock Eastern Time with a fabulous guest. And my guests are either V-Media clients, or their friends, or their friends of friends, or they're people that contact me that have something incredible to say. They have a business, or they can help you personally. The show's kind of evolving, but I'm really happy with the direction it's going in, because I've had a fabulous guest week after week. And tonight is no different. I have a wonderful lady here. She is a certified hypnotist. She is a professional speaker. She is a master energy specialist. And she is the author of 2 books. Her first book is called Stucked Up. And her newest book is called You Can Be Right About Everything and Still Have Nothing. Please welcome to V-Talks, Vickie Griffith. Hi, Vickie.
Hi there. Thank you for inviting me.
How are you?
I am well. We were a little chilly today. I live in Florida, so it was 70. I know all of you hate me, so there you go.
Well, no, this show is all over the world, so it really, you don't know.
So
we are cold, though. We are cold here in New England, I have to say. We even had snow the other day, which was pretty shocking. We don't usually see snow quite this early. Once in a blue moon. We had a blue moon too, so that might be why. And it's 2020.
So and the clocks went back on this coast. So there you go. We got an extra hour or two. Everything changed overnight.
I have to say that your eyes are stunning.
Thank you.
And they're so blue and so pretty, and I wanted to say that because they're really incredible. Okay, so Vickie, I want to talk to you about what you do, and can you tell us a little bit about your journey?
Sure. No, I'm just kidding. I'm that's our background, but
just hanging out in Florida.
I was a very chubby baby, toddler, and then got to the point when it's not so cute to be chubby anymore.
Yeah.
And so I struggled with my weight really my whole childhood, my teenage years, my young adult years, my adult years, and it was a struggle. I was on every diet. I've been on all the mainstream diets. I've been on the crazy diets like cottage cheese and ketchup or hot dog. I mean, it was just crazy stuff, hoping to find the magic pill that would help me release the weight and keep it off. While I was eating dozens of cookies because I was stressed because I had a test at school, or I was just not able to make the softball team. So I would drown all of my sorrows, my hurt, my anger, my angst, my happiness with food.
Yeah.
And didn't really understand the correlation until I got older. But that's really, and that's what I find with a lot of coaches. We make our mess our message. And I wanted to help other women not have to struggle with the judgment, self-judgment and criticism and the feeling of being less than and unworthy because you're fat. And that it is possible to actually release the weight a lot simpler than people. The diet industry has us all fooled.
Okay.
And they want us to say, to pay money, obviously, to have this pill or go see this program. And they all work for a while. But for those that are emotional or stress eaters, not so much. Because it's really the emotion and the belief systems that need to be worked on. And so the diet industry is telling you that you can fix it with an external solution, and that's not true. It needs to be fixed from the inside, and then the external solutions will work and work perfectly, and for the rest of your life you can stay thin.
Interesting. So I like the fact that you're coming from a place of experience, because not everyone does. And you're looking for a solution. You're not looking for a Band-Aid and a lifelong plan. So talk to me a little bit about your book, because I feel like that's really, where you started to dig deep into this area.
Right.
Yeah.
What I found is, thank you. It's so sweet.
I always do that. I hold it up. It's pretty. Yeah. Oh, matches your eyes.
It does, and I didn't design it, so
Yeah.
that was a God thing, not mine.
Because I read the foreword of your book.
Yes.
And which you said actually did it make it in, right?
Did I what?
Didn't you tell me the foreword that I read, did it make it in?
It didn't make it in my book.
I know. Because I was looking for it. I'm like, where is it? But it's what you sent me. Mm-hmm. And it really resonated with me and a lot of people that I know. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely, because what I found with only working through my own experience of releasing weight, a lot of the clients that I were having were stuck at something in their lives or something traumatic happened to them and they weren't quite getting past it. They may be functioning quite well. They might be doing okay in their career. They might be doing okay in their family, but there was just something inside of them that they felt they were stuck with. Mm-hmm. And that's basically what this whole book is about, is how they're proving that dysfunctional, flawed belief system right, unfortunately, sabotaging relationships, health, their finances, their business, and their career. And because of the way our minds work, especially the subconscious mind, they might not even be aware of it. It may be sabotaging them and they're not even aware of it. And therefore, they don't know. If you're not aware of it, you can't change it. So they don't know that they can change it.
And what types of, can you give me some examples of the types of behaviors that you see based upon this?
Sure. So clients come to me and they say, I can't stop eating. So fill in the blank. Sugar, ice cream, cake, carbohydrates, whatever it is that they believe is causing their weight sabotage. Other problems might come to me is I can't stop spending. $600 on a pair of shoes, $1,200 on a purse. And so there's that.
I'm so sorry. The fly is back, Mary Ellen. I can't even believe this. It's a long story. We'll maybe tell you about it later. All right, go ahead.
That's pretty awesome. Well,
yeah.
I welcome them, but no biting this time.
I right? I think his name is Jim. I'm not sure, but yeah, he's back.
Jim, you're welcome, but go land someplace safe.
He landed on my nose. See him? He landed on my nose. Okay, go ahead.
That's so funny. I lost my train of thought.
I know, I'm so sorry. If you saw the show last week, you'd absolutely understand this flight.
I have to go back and watch last week.
Yeah, you really do. It is really incredible. Did you see the fly? We've been together for an hour and 10 minutes, right?
Mm-hmm.
If we haven't seen the fly until now.
No, until now.
Okay, yes, we were talking about self-sabotage and some of the examples that you've seen with your clients of that.
Right. Okay. So I was talking about the $600 pair of shoes or the $1,200 purse when you really have a hard time paying rent. And so that's an issue. It comes up in relationship issues. So
And give some examples of that.
absolutely. So what I saw was, and it's in this story's in my book, it was a friend of mine who said he's doing it again. I'm like, you're doing what? Like, what is he doing? He left the washing machine on cold. Okay. And she was so upset and had to prove him wrong that he was the one who did it. And she got herself so upset about proving him wrong and being right that she literally had to be rushed to the emergency room because we thought she was having a heart attack over a dial on a washing machine. And that's when I realized how serious it is that we take these flawed belief systems and try to keep proving them right over and over and over again to justify why we're acting the way we are. And at the point where you're willing to die, I need to make this known that it can change and you can shift this and you can stop being right. So a lot of people look at my book title and like, well, I am right. I'm not talking about being right about fixing a problem or, trying to make something better. I'm talking about creating this belief system and sustaining the belief system that is not supporting you by proving it right over and over and over again.
Huh. Interesting. So Vickie, I brought on some guests to ask you some questions. Do you mind if I bring them in one by one and they'll have a little question for you. So our first guest is Carrie. Hi,
Hello.
Carrie.
Hello.
Hi, Carrie.
I love your
Vickie.
necklace. I love your necklace.
Thank you. I'm trying. I got my little iPad.
Yeah, it's all right.
Getting out of
It's
the frame.
a live show in my living room. Just relax.
But
get yourself situated, grab a martini, whatever you need.
Well, after I ask my question, maybe I will.
Okay.
Vickie, I wanted to ask you, what is the biggest challenge your personal clients face? What would you say was the top challenge?
So what's the biggest challenge that my clients face? Is that what the question was?
Correct.
Okay. My clients face, let me share with you what they say. When I'm on the interview to see if we're right for each other, they always say to me, I know what I need to do, but I can't get myself to do it. That's the biggest challenge. And when that appears, what usually appears after that is the self-judgment, this criticism about why I can't get myself to do it and what's wrong with me and I should know better and all those judgment thoughts that we have. So now they feel worse. They feel they lack confidence sometimes, or it's dinged their confidence. They're not doing what they could be doing to grow their business or to get a promotion or to enhance their relationship because all of that judgment is creating this issue with their confidence to think that they could do it in a different way, or they could get the promotion, or they could have the love of their life, or experience a great relationship along with releasing weight. So that's their biggest challenge is they know what they need to do. People are really smart. I mean, it's not that they don't know, it's just that they can't get themselves to do it.
So do you think they're looking for you to help hold them accountable?
That's part of the equation, but that's not all of it. Accountability is I have coaches, and that's the reason why. So
Sure.
when I tell them I'm going to do something,
I train people, personal train, and a lot of them say, well, if you don't show up, I'm not going to do it.
Right.
So that's why I was wondering if that Veronica trains with me and Chris, her husband, and
I'm a great example.
They give it all when I'm there, but I try to encourage those extra days, and I wonder how you inspire your clients to have that follow through. Like when you're not holding their hand or hypnotizing them or giving them the homework, how do you encourage them to like, come on, do the work? You don't need me there. You know you want to do it.
Well, that mentality shifts because of the hypnosis that we'll talk about a little bit later. So you change the belief system that they're having about themselves, and so they're more willing and ready to be held accountable because their belief systems are changing. And it sounds like it's really magic and it's really mystical. And I read a lot about neuroscience, and it isn't, but there's easier ways to do that. And I think most of us, well, it's actually in our DNA to want more. It's in our DNA to want more. We always want more, and that's good. That's how we survived, right?
Sure.
As a species, that's how we survive. And so most of us really want different. We want it to, whether you're training physically or if you're writing a book, or if you're trying to grow a business, you want that more. And that's a good thing. And so accountability is part of it, but also self-motivation comes from inside, and it comes from here, and it comes from your heart. And so if you don't have those two aligned, and if you don't have the belief system that you can, you just won't show up. And I've been there before. I've been places where I didn't show up because I didn't believe I could have what I wanted. And so that's what needs to change.
Thank you, Carrie. I appreciate your question.
Thank you.
Thanks, Carrie.
All righty. Have a good night.
You too.
Okay. Well, that was interesting.
That was fun.
Yeah. You have another one. You have another guest. Yes. I think we have Jen. All right. Jen, are you ready? Jen's like, I'm ready.
I'm ready.
Hi, Jen.
I put myself in the camera here.
Yeah,
How do I get myself over there? There
Hold
we
on.
are.
It's live.
Yay.
Oh,
Hi, Vickie. Hi, Veronica. How are you guys?
Hi.
What is your question for Vickie?
I have a question, and then I also have a quote that I try to live by. And I wonder if it pertains to what we're talking about here with what you're trying to teach your clients. So the question was, what solid reasons keep us in the trap of self-sabotage? So that's the question.
Okay.
The thought that I had, and that I say often to many of my students, it's a belief system. We talk about belief systems, which you were just talking about with Carrie. The belief system, we can do things, or maybe we hold ourselves up to standards that really aren't us. So the question is this. So this is the quote that I read often. I'm going to read it from my phone, but I can say it verbatim. Maybe the journey isn't so much about becoming anything. Maybe it's about us unbecoming everything that really isn't us. And so that we can be who we were supposed to be in the first place. So I think sometimes as we fall into this trap of self-sabotage, trying to become something that we hold so dear, maybe that really isn't truly us at all. Mm-hmm. So is that a good thought? Is that something I try to shed light on that with my students and with my friends and with myself? I try to live by that, but I still fall in all the traps of self-sabotage. We all do, from money to business to, I can't be that successful, or how can I do that? Or, that's probably not my path. So I don't know. Maybe you can shed some light on that.
Thank you for the quote. I love that. That's
all right.
Really
yeah.
So the solid reasons, the belief systems, and this is the core of the belief. It doesn't mean that everyone kind of branches off from these cores. So the first one is not enough. So that's a belief system that you'll never be enough. You'll never have enough. You're too old. You're too young. You're too fat. You're too thin. You're not enough in any fashion. And a lot of times for my weight loss clients, so that what I hear from them is there's not enough food, or I will never be thin enough. So that's one of those. those sayings or one of those belief systems. Now, the one that you were just talking about is a belief of or living up to someone else's expectations.
Yeah.
That's because there's a belief of being disloyal. If you get that way, you'll be disloyal too. And then you need to fill in the blank. So when I was growing up, I was on and off diets my whole life since I was 10. And I was on a diet again. My mom and I used to go to the gym together and go have hot fudge sundaes afterwards. I mean, that's...
Yeah. I did that at Howard Johnson's with my mom.
Yeah, Howard Johnson, me too. That's
Yay!
amazing.
That was like my favorite thing to do as a child. Howard Johnson's. We'd go
Yep.
get, extra whipped cream. Anyway.
Yeah, exactly. But for a
Yeah.
long time, and I didn't read, I mean, this isn't something that was logical to me, but for a long time I realized it was disloyal for me to be thinner than my mom. We had to both be struggling.
Mm.
And then there's a fear of being abandoned. So those expectations you were talking about, that fear of they're going to abandon me if I become successful. They're going to abandon me if I become thin. They're going to abandon me if I become whatever we think they want us to be or not
Yeah.
want us to be. So those are two of the solid reasons. The other two is it's a burden. And so whatever you want to achieve is a burden to you. And you're going to say, I want $1 million business. That doesn't seem like a burden. But when you really stop to think about it and feel it a little bit, well, what does that mean I have to do? How much
Yeah.
time does that mean?
The work.
Yeah, that might come up. And really, that's all an illusion anyway. So the other part is that responsibility piece too. There's too much responsibility in whatever it is I want.
Mm.
And so there's that as well. The last one I don't see often, but I do see this with weight loss clients. It's the fear of standing out. So they don't want to be noticed. And being thin means they'll be noticed. Not that being overly obese, they're not being noticed, but there's a whole different belief system about being in that limelight. A lot of times that comes with something else too. So
Yeah.
if I'm with friends and we're all starving artists, then if I get a painting or a sculpture that gets to be thousands of dollars, then I'm not in that circle anymore. And so there's that abandonment issue as well.
Okay.
Interesting. Thank you. Thank you,
Thank
Jen.
you, Vickie. All right.
Great question.
All right. Thank you, Vickie.
All right.
You look fabulous, by the way.
Thank you.
Yes.
That's very sweet of you.
All right. Well, our next guest is Mary Ellen, and I'm going to add her to the conversation. Hi, Mary Ellen.
Hi, guys. Hi. Hi, V. Hi, Vickie. How are you?
You have a question for Vickie.
I do. So, it's about changing habits. What is a common myth about changing a habit that you can debunk or it just isn't true?
I love this question.
Because I mean, there's so many things that you can do to change a habit. There's that you read about, but truly, what can we really do to change a habit? And they make it sound so simple, but it really isn't that easy.
No.
Is it?
It is.
Yeah, maybe it is.
Yeah.
It is. And let me share why. Part of the myth is the belief system that it has to be hard. So that's one of them. The other belief system is that it causes it to, the myth that causes it to be hard is it's going to take too much time. There's a whole lot of excuses that we use about what the habit is, and that I'm not in control. And the habit comes from your thought and your feeling that creates a belief, then creates the action. So the two things you are in control of in your entire life, and this is going to stun many of you, and I'm sorry, but this is the truth. The only two things you control in life is your thoughts and your emotions. That's it. And so it feels like we're out of control when we're in these habits that we don't want anymore. And the reality is the thought has gotten out of control. So reading a lot about neuroplasticity, it's not a theory. Actually, does work. You can stop the thought. You can just not be willing to allow that thought to take you down the path of the behavior habit. It will eventually fade away. And that's exactly, I did not know this 20 years ago, but I knew I was tired of the judgment and criticism that I had for myself. And I knew I wasn't going to diet again. So what I did is I went on a mental diet. And anytime I heard a judgment or criticism coming from up here, I said no. And so it can be as simple as that. It is very time consuming. I will share with you, it took me several weeks to finally get really big, long gaps between the criticism and judgment until finally I was feeling free of them. So it does take a while. It takes diligence, but it can happen as easy as that. Through hypnosis, you can change the subconscious mind to not be afraid of the change. And that's what it's really doing. Its biggest job is to keep you safe. And so the brain is the same way. So if it feels safe to do something differently or to think differently, then it will do it automatically without your willpower or without your struggle, without you having to push your way through. So that's the biggest myth, that it's hard and that it's not impossible and that you can't do it. If you can, it's not so hard. And I've seen a lot of people do it, just like I said, with myself included. I just said no and they started to go away.
Wow.
That's great. That is great.
See, it's easy, Mary Ellen.
I know it is. I mean, I kind of did some changes many years ago because I was always very self-depreciating, and anytime someone would compliment me, I would push it off and I would say, "Oh no." I was very, very self-depreciating, and someone brought that to my attention. They said, "You need to stop doing that." And so every time someone would compliment me, I'd try and say, "Oh, but thanks, but no." I had to stop myself. And I eventually got to that place. But you can do it. You absolutely can. But you have to think about it and you have to be conscious of it. And it's all mind, right? And you don't even realize you're doing it a lot of times, these habits, you know? Yeah.
Thank you, Mary Ellen. It was a great question.
Thank you, Vickie.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
I know I keep popping them out. We don't have a producer tonight. It's just me. I'm the producer.
Producer.
It's a low end. This is a low end operation. It's all smoke and mirrors.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to bring in Cindy now. Cindy has another question for you. Hi, Cindy.
I'm just contented. How are you guys?
Yep, getting situated. I can hear you fine. That's good.
Perfect. So yes,
what's your question?
I was like listening to everybody. I'm like, I'm totally going to forget mine. So I wanted to ask you, what do you wish you had known along your journey?
Great question. Thanks, Cindy. What would I wish? I wish that I would have known my thoughts didn't control me, and that most of those, actually not most, all of those negative thoughts that I had about myself were not me. I seriously believed them to be true, and they are not true. So once I learned that, and started, like I was just talking about, change the habit by just thought, because that's the only thing I had at that point in my life. Then I could change my actions and reactions to a lot of different things. I still today do a lot of, as like Mary Ellen was talking about, a lot of awareness. So I still am very aware. What am I thinking? What am I feeling? And if it is anything that is negative or judging or putting me into a pattern, that habit pattern that I don't want anymore, I just say, no, I'm no longer willing. So that was the biggest thing that I had to learn.
Right. Is there an example you can give us of something that you've worked through that you're still working through today?
Sure, I can tell you the example for this evening. So
Okay.
I ate early because it's just gonna be late when we're done, and I was hungry, and so I did eat something, and I always have some dessert. Now I'm sugar-free at this point, and so I was having something that was sugar-free, and it tasted pretty darn good. And my thought was, when I finished it, I want more. And I'm like, that's great, you want more. And yes, it was delicious, but no, we're not doing that. And I just put it in the dishwasher, dishes in the dishwasher, and walked away. So it was really that easy. But I've been doing this for a long, long time. And there's many times the conversation would have gone a lot differently. It would have been, I want more. And I would have said no. And was like, I want more. I want more. Like a little 2-year-old having a tantrum.
Me.
Yeah, exactly. And then I would have given in to that urge. And so
Cindy, I need some work because I have this Klondike bar thing.
I heard.
I was sugar-free for like a month. It was doctor's orders. It was sugar-free, gluten-free, dairy-free. And I noticed my taste buds even changed. And I made like sugar-free, gluten-free, dairy-free desserts, and I loved them. And I went out one night and I fell off the bandwagon, and I ended up making the same desserts, and I threw them out because I wouldn't even eat them. And they were so delicious to me like 2 months ago. But it's such a big mind thing.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you, Cindy. Thanks for your question.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Wow, that's really interesting. It sounds so easy when you say it. Just no, don't have a second serving.
Well, yes. And like I said, I've been doing this for a long time. Plus, I've done a lot of reconditioning of my subconscious mind. So my subconscious mind is more on board to support me and no, that's not really a good idea right now. And to realize too, I had to also realize that because all my issues were food and emotional issues, that I can have more later. If I really, really want it, it's not going off the face of the earth. I mean, I can make more, I can go buy more. I don't have to indulge in it all right now, that all or nothing mentality, which is a whole nother show.
Yeah, I know. Well, I wanted to dive in a little bit into your hypnosis. Because that's what you're trained to do. And I have another guest that wants to ask you a question regarding that, if that's okay.
Sure.
Can I bring her on? Her name is Nikki. Hi, Nikki.
Hi, Veronica. Hi, Vickie.
Hi, Nikki.
Nice to meet you.
Hi.
It's nice
How
to
are
meet
you? I see. So, what is that behind you?
Oh, that's Alfred.
Alfred?
Yeah, he's my
It's a Halloween decoration.
Yeah, but he lives inside year round.
Oh my gosh, how cute is Alfred?
Yeah. And I decorate him every holiday. He's decorated for Thanksgiving. He has a pilgrim hat on.
Oh, can we look at Alfred? I want to see that.
That's awesome.
That looks interesting. Oh, check him out. So he's seasonal, like it's whatever is happening.
Yep. His book says "Give thanks."
Oh, that's cute. That's really funny, Nikki.
Thanks.
I don't think I've ever met Alfred. Okay, you have a question for Vickie. What is it?
So, what exactly is hypnosis, and how does it help change people's behavior? Because when I think of hypnosis, I think of, okay, so you follow the pendulum, you go to sleep, I'm going to snap my fingers, and then I act like a chicken or a rooster or whatever you tell me, and then everybody thinks it's funny, and then you snap your fingers again, and I don't remember anything. So I'm sure if I think like that, because I've never been hypnotized. So how does that help change people's behavior, I guess?
I actually love, Nikki, that you brought that up, because movies make it look so different than what it really is. And even stage hypnotists are trained differently than hypnotherapists. So, and I had judgments about entertainers. So there was an hypnotist that was an entertainer in my class to be a hypnotherapist. And I'm like, I really kind of have some issues with you because you make fun of hypnosis. And he goes, no, I really don't. I show people the power of their mind. I show what they can really do if they get out of their own way. And then I said, well, why do you want to be a hypnotherapist? He said, because after a show, people would come up to me and say, can you help me with stop smoking, lose weight, whatever it is that they were struggling with. And so he said he couldn't, so he needed the training for being a therapist. So the theory around hypnosis is that our subconscious mind, that we don't know where it is our controlling mind. Subconscious mind is below the surface, and it would be about 90% of your mind. Most people think we are governed by our conscious thoughts that are going blah, 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 all day long, and we are not. We are governed by and controlled by the subconscious mind. Subconscious mind takes in all the information and creates what we want to behave, how we want to behave, how we want to feel, what is our action or reaction to whatever's going on. It harbors all, it's like a computer. It harbors all this information we put into it. All the data, just like a computer, whether it's good or bad, it takes it. However, what happens is that, just like a computer, when you put in bad information, you get bad data. Well, the same thing happens with our subconscious mind. And how does this information get put into our subconscious mind? For the first 8 to 10 years, when we are absorbing all that we, in our environment, that we need to know to survive, and much, much more, we are told who we are. We are told how we need to act or react to things. We are told that if we're a good girl or a bad girl, we try to be a good girl or a good boy, however it may be, the best that we can. We are programmed over and over again, like coding in a computer, to get the reaction they want out of us, for good and bad, right? You don't want your child sticking their finger in an outlet, right? So that's good piece of it. Also, trauma happens in our lives, and trauma is not what a lot of people think it might be. Yes, trauma is horrific, and I've had clients who've had horrific experiences in their lives. However, a trauma can be something said to you, and it makes you feel badly about yourself. Mm-hmm. So a trauma can be something that you observed. Didn't even affect you, but you observed it in that manner, and it becomes a trauma. So those type of things are traumas. So those are all harbored in the subconscious mind. And the subconscious mind, as I said, wants to make you safe. So as miserable as it feels to go have, like you said, Veronica, the Klondike bar or the second one, it does it because there's some safety in it for you.
It's delicious. That's the safety.
Good for a little bit, it helps you feel a little safe. So that's what its entire purpose is, to keep you safe. So how do we change that?
Yeah.
One of them is through changing through conscious thought. Mm-hmm. And it is very, very possible to just think differently. So if you have a habit you don't want to have, like the piece of candy at, let's say, 3:00 in the afternoon, then you would just say no to that thought, and it would eventually go away. The urge would go away. And what's really interesting about it, the brain would be actually rewired if you did that. However, talking to a neuroscientist, that can take 10,000 repetitions. And guess what happens if you mess up at 9,999?
Starts over.
Yeah. So it's possible, but it's a long period of time.
Right.
What we found is with the subconscious mind, bringing it through the forefront to a more relaxed state. We see this in the alpha theta brainwaves, and we see that suggestions are more readily accepted. You can do this for yourself, and you do this for yourself every single day. So road hypnosis, if you ever gotten someplace and went, I wonder if I just stopped at that stop sign, or how the heck did I get here? That's called
yes.
Yeah, and that's what that is.
Yes, when you're driving and all of a sudden you're just driving and driving and driving, you're like, I don't even remember the last 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. And that's that you're in a hypnotic state. Your brain went into one of the alpha theta states, and it's not like this all the time. It's not conscious thought.
And what causes that?
It's because it's the same thing. So especially if you do the same route over and over and over again, it's the same thing. Your subconscious
you're tuning it out.
Yeah, I got this. I'll break when I need to. It's just automatic. It just kind of takes over for you. So that's part of what it is like. What it's like to be or feel hypnotized is a very relaxed state for the most part of your body. So what I mean by that is some people feel like they can't lift their arms. And you'll even have hypnotists suggest that. When I first got hypnotized at 16, I went into an office with a lazy boy chair, and he was a chiropractor who had just learned hypnosis. He had, said some things to me. My eyes were closed. I was breathing. I felt relaxed. And he said to me, I'm going to tie this red helium balloon to your left wrist, and it will get higher and higher and lighter and lighter. And I'm thinking, this man's out of his mind because there was not a red helium balloon in his office. I looked around to make sure what was in this office when I walked in to make sure it was safe. There was no red helium balloon. There was no helium tank. This man is insane.
Right.
And he kept saying it, and sure enough, my arm started rising off of the arm of the chair. So in a relaxed state, you're more susceptible to suggestions. And so you want to put the suggestions in that you want to make the changes with. So what are those suggestions are always agreed upon between me and my client. We agreed upon what they want to stop, what they want to start doing, and then I can start giving them suggestions in a relaxed state. It is not unconscious. So in other words, it is not like having surgery. Although your subconscious mind is still recording everything, even though you're in that state. It is not, just like in my experience, when I knew that there was not a red helium balloon, you are not in a state of not thinking. So in other words, you're awake to a certain level. Some people choose not to because they're so relaxed. They're like, oh, I'm out. I'm done. Some people actually fall asleep during these recordings that I do for them. And I actually suggest they do that for many other reasons. It's not that type of thing. It's not that I can make you do anything you don't want to do, even if you want to do it. So if you are trying to cut back on sugar until the subconscious mind is ready to, and it's safe and it feels safe, then you'll start making the progression towards that. And it could be just like that, and it could be weeks. Some people will say to me, so for my clients, we work in 6 months chunk of time, and I make them 2 customized recordings. No 2 have ever been alike in 20 years. And so they'll be listening to this recording, and 6 weeks in, they'll say, when did you put that in the recording? It's like, well, it's not like I can, go in the middle of the night and the recording. It's always been there. But the reason they're finally hearing it is because their subconscious mind is ready to take action on it. So it's people think you're not going to give me your PIN number, to your bank account, none of that stuff is going to happen because you're fully alert enough. Mm-hmm. And if the subconscious mind isn't safe, or if it's not safe for you, then it's not going to happen.
That makes sense.
Interesting.
That makes sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
So Vickie, and Nikki.
Veronica.
I know. So what are your thoughts? Do you think we could maybe, if Nikki is game for this, do you think we could maybe hypnotize her? Icky?
I'm game for that.
Yeah. I'll give it a try.
Like on air.
Yeah.
We can hypnotize her.
Yeah.
Now, first, there's a warning. If you are driving and watching this or listening to this, turn it off. This is not appropriate when you're in a moving vehicle of any kind, whether it's a forklift, a motorboat, or a moving vehicle as a car. Never, ever, ever go into this relaxed state. Now, like I said, road hypnosis happens naturally. That's not something that somebody's doing to you, right, or saying to you, but never, ever do that. On my
so you're saying that anybody watching could go into this hypnotic state if they choose?
Correct.
Okay.
And you want to make sure that you're safe. So seated, lying down. I'm not going to take a whole lot of time doing this. It's going to be really brief. So you might not get as deep into a relaxed state as you might think you need to or should. Don't worry about that. Also realize hypnosis is it's a practice. It's like any other practice. It takes time sometimes to get into the deeper states. So some people get to it right away. Meditators, people who are focused in sports, people use this type of visualization, relaxation, hypnotism, if you want to call it that, to better themselves in performance. People use this in success a lot. So it's really, really common, much more than people think, because they're not going through the practice with another person. They're probably pretty much doing it themselves. It's really very, very easy. It can be done very quickly, and you don't have to take a whole lot of time. I'm not for something that takes a lot of time. 20 minutes is way too much time for me.
Yeah.
I just lose interest. I'm out. I don't want it.
So what I'm going to do, Vickie, is I'm going to pull myself out of the stream because I don't want to do that because I got to, continue on with the show.
You're
so
running.
I'm out. I'm out, but I'll be back because
Great.
I'll be lucid and I'll watch.
Okay.
How can I watch and not be hypnotized? Like if the viewers are watching, like how do we not be hypnotized?
Well, realize that you have a choice. So you can say, I just won't follow along.
Mm.
And while you're listening, I'm just not going to go there. So you have a choice.
Okay.
You may feel a little more relaxed. You're just listening to me. If you've ever been in a guided meditation, this is what this will feel like.
Okay.
Guided meditation.
Okay.
The difference is that I do have, and I won't be using that in this video, but I do have other ways to help what I call direct suggestion. And again, that's something we've agreed upon. So it's not like it's foreign to you. But yeah, you can just consciously say, I'm not interested for this moment.
All right, ladies, I'm going to give you 5 minutes or so. And good luck, Nikki.
Thank you. I'm excited.
Be careful. Okay. Let's see.
All right, Nikki, go ahead and focus on something across the room, kind of like you're looking through it. Not that, you're focused on it or, oh, that's whatever it may be. Just try to focus. You're looking kind of through it, around it, and then take a deep breath in and release. You're doing great. Take another deep breath and release. And a third very cleansing breath, inviting in the power of 3. And release and close your eyes. Realize that you are safe. Your body will align to keep you comfortable and seated. And it will hold you in that space. I invite you to imagine a beautiful white light maneuvering over the top of your head, this amazing white light, something you've never seen before. And this wonderful light you invited into your scalp, and all the small muscles of your scalp relax. As the beautiful white light moves into your forehead and into your brain. And there it begins to massage all the neural pathways that have been created out of things that you no longer wish to act upon. And it fills those in as it creates new neural pathways with ease and grace and love for what you want in your life. And relaxing ever so deeply. Imagining that beautiful light. And when I say imagine, you might see it, you might feel it, but you know what it looks like. And that's enough. You can just think about it. The beautiful light that moves into your jaw and down your neck, into your shoulders. This amazing light comes from the highest source, and it is healing, pure love. It knows where to stay within your body for further healing, and it knows how to expand and move on without your thought. The beautiful white light massages all the burden and responsibility off your shoulders, and you are willing and ready to release it right now. This beautiful light that moves down your spine into your arms as they might rest heavier or lighter and lighter. As the beautiful light moves into your heart and your heart space. And in that heart space, there's a beautiful crystal flame that's been doused from all the layers of hurt, trauma, all the layers of disappointment and resentment. But it lovingly and safely removes those layers, getting you ready and willing to move forward in the beautiful grace of this wonderful, loving light. And once it gets into that space, and there may be a few layers that are not willing to move, and that is okay, because this light knows how to get in and around and in between spaces that you'd never know, and gets into that heart space, touches the crystal flame, and it begins to glow again. Beautiful light moves on down your spine into your stomach, feeling full and satisfied with small amounts of food. And then beginning to move down into your hips, seated comfortably and safely. Entire body is relaxing, every muscle, every ligament, every tendon. Every cell of your body is accepting this beautiful white light and is allowing the healing and love that you've never experienced before. As the light moves down into your legs, your knees, calves, ankles, and feet, moving forward with ease in this new direction that you have in mind. You haven't even spoken it to me, but you know what it is. Moving in grace and ease, dignity, freedom, and success. Easier than you ever thought. More free than you ever thought. And allowing and accepting and receiving all that you wish for whatever that desire is. This beautiful light is now moving from the very highest source down through your head, your spine, your body, to every single cell. Healing, refreshing, renewing, rejuvenating. So that you awaken in the morning feeling refreshed and energetic and enthusiastic to your surprise. And relaxing ever so deeply. It moves down through your body into the earth and back into the heavens again. Come back and replenish you. Physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, energetically. Whether you know it or not. So relaxing deeper. In a moment, I will count to 5, and at 5, you'll be fully awakened and refreshed. You remember all that you wish to remember. You discard what doesn't serve you. So coming back into the space at 1, feeling centered at 2, feeling a sense of rejuvenation at 3, 4, physical awareness returns, moving your fingers and your toes. And at 5, fully awake, fully alert, eyes wide open. Take a deep breath.
Wow.
You want to share what you felt?
Warmth.
Yay.
It was nice. It was, my thoughts were clear. My head didn't feel jumbled. I was focusing on your voice and your words and what you were saying and where the light was going. And it was really nice.
Yay.
Yeah, that was
Yes.
really nice.
Thank you so much.
Hi, Nikki.
Thank you. Wow. That was really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
feel
know.
like
I was afraid to listen. I didn't.
rejuvenated.
You know, Vickie, you have such a soothing voice too.
I was just gonna say that. Yes, her
Mhm.
voice is very. It's very nice to go to a relaxation state with your voice and your guidance. That was really that was pretty cool.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Nikki, thank you for being such a trooper.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
All righty, really, thank you so much. You have a good evening.
Thanks, you too, ladies. Bye, Vickie.
Uh-huh.
Thanks, Vickie. Bye-bye.
Yeah, so that wasn't scary at all.
No.
So, you know, I think, you know, just listening to it, I was saying I wasn't listening, but I totally was listening. It wasn't scary. It was relaxing. It was emotional. I felt emotion listening to it. So thank you for doing that demonstration and just showing people that it isn't a scary process to get hypnotized, because I think there's that misconception that we talked earlier about, where you've got the pendulum and then you start to talk like a chicken and all sorts of weird things happen. And that's not the case at all.
Nope, it is not that case at all.
Yeah.
And, you know, if you wanted to, so someone who is in the listening audience of viewers, if they wanted to, they could download this, and they could create cut that portion out
Mhm.
if they wanted to listen to that over. I do have a lot of free self-hypnosis recordings that are
Yeah.
available for people. So in specific areas, like the weight loss one that I have is the one I created for me when I first started my journey. So that's the one that started my success. And that's available at no charge. I have, oh gosh, many others of them. One is called Zen the Mood. So it's 15 minutes of that. So that's always fun to have. That's free also. And I think I have a couple others that are for free.
Vickie, are those on your break-through.org website? Is that where you can find those videos?
Links. So it's best to get to me through Vickie Griffith actually just go to vickiegriffith.com. So vickie@vickiegriffith.com. So that's one of my email addresses.
Okay.
And it's the easiest one because the whole hyphen thing is going to be a little.
Okay, hold on. Whoops. Oh no, that's your book. We could talk about more about that too, but hold on 1 second. Let me see. So I can make a banner. Vickie. You know, my grandmother called me Vickie.
Is that right?
So I answered to Vickie.
Oh, that's fun.
Well, not the fact that she didn't know my name, but yeah. She did. She called me Vickie. She'd send me birthday cards and say, "Dear Vickie." So I relate to your name very well, in a good way though.
Yeah.
You know, so
There's something special just between you and your grandmother.
yes. I think my mom said she wanted her to name me Vickie, and so she just kind of dug her heels into the ground and said, "I'm going to be Vickie." So it's Vickie. So what is the email address?
So it's Vickie, Vickie.
At.
Yep, Vickie.
Sorry,
Griffith.
guys, no producer. At Vickie
Griffith.
Griffith.com.
I'll be glad to get
That
you up with
is
those.
that right? Did we spell that right?
Yeah, GRFITH. Yay! Yes.
Yay! So if you email Vickie, you will give them links to the free videos.
Right.
And then also, if they go to break-through.org, they could also link to here.
Yes. So that's break-through.org/books with an S. And that's where you can get that book. I actually have a webinar coming up on Thursday.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Talking about the book. So
Oh,
that's
great.
an opportunity there.
Wonderful. And I'd also like to just lightly dive into something else that you do that I find fascinating. I don't know that we'll have time tonight to do a demonstration, so we might have to have you back for that. It's something that I wasn't really that familiar with. You are a master energy practitioner. Can you explain to us what that is?
Well, I use a lot of energy techniques, and it's a whole story about we are just frequency, and that's what we are. And when we have something dislodged, then we can energetically shift it, move it, change it. And I do that mainly though through a technique called tapping. I actually studied with the founder. At that point, it was called emotional freedom techniques. Okay. And there's a whole story about I'm left-brained. And this was just like the most ridiculous thing I ever heard in my life.
Right. Sure.
And it made a huge difference in my life. And I started sharing it with my clients, and it made a huge difference in their lives. It's one of those techniques that, here you go use this. So in other words, I don't have to hold your hand. And I think it was Carrie that was talking about that, go do this on your own. I don't want to have to be always supporting you. It's one of those techniques. And you can also do it real time, which you can't do with hypnosis. Hypnosis is relaxed state, sleeping, sitting, light a candle if you want to. Real time. I mean, I've tapped standing in grocery store lines when I was looking at the Snickers bar going, I really, really, really want that Snickers bar, and nobody knew it. And so it the craving quickly, so I can just do that without my day. So it's amazing.
So it's something you can use in lieu of, or in addition to saying, no, I don't want that Klondike bar, that's not working. So then I can also add the tapping therapy.
Yes. Yes. And actually,
And it's something I can do myself.
Yeah, you can do it yourself. And what will be fun is I can show you that this is what I love to do most, is to show people how to use it for food cravings. So
Okay.
it will eliminate the food craving. And then we can work on the inner stuff about why you keep wanting the Klondike bar. There's physical stuff and there's
I know, you're like, this girl's got a problem.
it's
Yeah. And my husband is always like, that's your go-to move? Like that Ben and Jerry's Chunky Monkey or something, like that. He's like, a Klondike bar. And they're not even the good ones. It's the no sugar added ones. He thinks they're not good. I think they're delicious. But somewhere in my brain, because there's no sugar added, I feel like it's okay.
Right.
Yeah, I've got it all justified all in here, Vickie.
And that's what our brains do. That's what our subconscious mind does. So
yeah, we make it okay.
yeah, exactly. Let me reason this out for you.
It's fine. And so these techniques, you said earlier, we talked about it a little bit in the beginning, but for people that have joined us later on in the broadcast, these are techniques that you not only use for food cravings, but they're used for other things as well, right?
Mm-hmm. So it can help with any type of anxiety, fear, frustration, overwhelm. I've used it for procrastination. I've used it for super silly things that I know one would, why are you using it for that? Well, I had a situation at the time and I had to take care of it. So it was the best thing that I had at that moment. And it did. It took care of it. So I was comfortable for a while. I used a lot for fear of planes. It can be used a lot now.
Oh, right. People that are and that's a control thing, right? Being afraid to fly, that's more you're not flying the plane yourself, so you feel a little out of control.
You would assume that, but that's not always the case.
Oh, what else could it be?
So sometimes it is claustrophobic, so it's a tight space. Sometimes it is control. I had one client, it had to do with an experience with a grandmother in a very tight space. So it wasn't even in a plane. And once we released all of that energy around that, she was being able to fly all over the world because she was a speaker and she needed to.
Sure.
Without the first time after our session, she texted me when she got to where she was going. And she was, I even fell asleep on the plane. I've never done that. My friend who was with me, like, are you okay? What's wrong with you?
Right. So, tonight, when I started the show, I touched a little bit upon the election. And the reason I did that was obviously it's election day. And I've spoken to a lot of people today, and they are so stressed out. No matter what political side you're on, everyone has a lot of anxiety. And it's not only the election, it's 2020 and COVID. And up here in Massachusetts, we've had, we're not quite on lockdown, but they have said that we are now to wear masks all the time. Even if we can social distance, if we're outside, inside, unless you're in your home. So I think, there's a lot of anxiety going on right now. Is there something you could recommend to our audience that could help them deal with that?
Absolutely. This is one of my favorite go-to techniques personally. It's the one that I shared with a client. I was actually in a taxi cab in New York City several years ago heading towards a meeting, and I got a phone call on my cell phone, and thank goodness for caller ID because I knew it was a client. But she was so hysterical, I couldn't understand her. And so before we did anything else, we did this technique. And within probably a minute, maybe a minute and a half, she was calm enough that she could tell me what the situation was so then we could tap through it. And so this is what all you need to do is put your hand on your chest. It doesn't matter which hand. I tend to do my right hand.
Actually, I'm going to hold on one second. I want to move this because they might not be able to see this. Hi.
There you go.
Okay, there we go.
We did it.
See, I don't need a producer. I got this. Okay, so put my hand.
Put your hand on your chest.
Okay.
Over your heart area. And then you take a deep breath in. And you release it and say, I am safe.
I am safe.
Another time, one more time. Breathe it in and out.
I am safe.
Power of 3, one more time. And
I
out.
am safe.
I am safe. That's considered one round. You might need to do that 3 times. And you might need to do another round. You might need to do it 3 times of 3. It doesn't matter how many times you need to do it. But what's happening is when you're getting oxygen in your bloodstream, which is getting oxygen in your brain, you can think more clearly. It's going to release the fight flight. So the lizard brain, it's going to release that. I need to fight this. I need to flee from it, but I don't know what I'm fighting or fleeing. That's what happened with COVID. It was totally a whole survival instinct that was coming up. All 4 of our survival mechanisms were threatened, and that's never happened, I don't think, in 100 years or longer. And so with this, what you're doing is you're taking in oxygen, getting into your system, and then reminding yourself you're safe. That's the one thing. This, we always love to feel when we're a child, when we want to be comforted. So this is comforting. I am safe is reminding your brain and your mind that you're safe, even if you don't believe it. 2 other things you could say. If you can't say I'm safe, you can say it's going to be okay, even if you don't believe it. And it will calm down. Or I'm okay.
I'm okay.
So you can do any of those 3 sayings. You can do them all, one at a time for 3 rounds. You can do 1 each for 1 round. It doesn't matter. There's no rules. You have to get it right.
Yeah.
I'm a recovering perfectionist. I want to.
You're like, whatever works. So like, get your crap together, girlfriend. Does that matter? Get it together. I love that. Yeah, that's terrific. Thank you. I think that is a technique that everyone can do. And it will be helpful because it's going to be a long night, and it might be longer than that. We don't know, but definitely everything we're experiencing right now with COVID and the spikes. And I think people are just tired and frustrated, and it's just out of control. I don't think anyone feels like they're in control of the situation. But as you said earlier, what are the only things we can control?
Thoughts and emotions. That's it.
That's right. That's right.
So,
And I think that's a wonderful way to segue back into the book and how to order it and your website. So the book is You Can Be Right About Everything and Still Have Nothing. Our author is Vickie Griffith. And you can get her book at breakthrough.org. It's scrolling at the bottom of your screen. And if you are interested in Vickie's techniques, she has some free techniques that you can get through emailing her, but you can also find those on her website. And you had one more thing. You have a webinar.
I do have a webinar this Thursday, November 5th, and I'm doing it twice. So there's opportunity to catch it.
And so people can sign up for that?
Yeah, absolutely. And they can do that at my website as well.
I love it. We're going to have Vickie back on because I want to learn more about this tapping technique. There's a lot more to it than what we just did today, but I really appreciate it. I appreciate you. You are a fabulous guest. I appreciate all our lovely ladies who participated and asked you questions and supported our show. And thank you all for supporting our show because I'm trying to bring you content, interesting guests. And if you have any suggestions or anyone that you feel you would like to see on the show, please message me and at V Media Consultancy, and I'll get back with you. Vickie, enjoy Florida and your lovely weather. All right. Bye-bye now. Thank you.
Thanks.